right, welcome back, everyone. This is Ebonie, a.k.a. Fit Mom Diva of Simplicity Health Style, and today we have Ariel with us. How are you, Ariel?
I'm great. How are you, Ebonie?
I'm awesome. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day. She had a busy morning, you guys, so I would love it if you could stick around to the end and listen to the gems that she wants to share with us as she's talking about her life purpose and some challenges and struggles that she's had along the way. Ariel, start us off just by telling us one motivational quote that really inspires you and encourages you to keep going.
Okay, well, as I told you when we spoke over the phone, I am a believer, an adamant believer in Christ, and a verse in the text of 2 Timothy, verse 1, verse 7, is, "For God hath not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." And why this moves me every single day is because it's something that reminds me that it is not of my strength, but my power is in the Lord. And He is the one who provides me and keeps me going day by day. So no matter what warfare or warring thoughts go on in here, He allows me to just flow gracefully.
And that is so beautiful. And we often say to ourselves, well, how is such and such going to happen and occur in our life? And how am I going to be able to get through this? And oh my gosh, so many things are coming at me. What am I going to do? And that's exactly the right approach, to take it from our approach of God doesn't give us a spirit of fear. That doesn't come from God. So I think that many times trusting and surrendering to Him and knowing that He is going to guide us in the way that needs to be led, our path needs to be led, is key. And there's so many stressors in this world that why add more frustration and overwhelm when it's unnecessary? You know, putting that trust in Him can be difficult, but when we do, we experience that lightness. We all know that it's not always going to be easy. So can you talk about a time in your life when perhaps you did not see the light at the end of the tunnel and you were questioning God's presence in your life, and you kept coming with one circumstance after the other and wondering, how am I ever going to get through this? But at the end of the day, you were able to see your goal or your dream to fruition.
So I think I want to start off with basically my childhood, because I feel like that's a defining point in my life. So I actually didn't grow up, or was raised rather, in a Christian household. I grew up in Catholicism, so everything was more ritualistic and traditional. I did go to school and I did study that religion for the time, but I struggled early on. I think around 8 years old, I had bad depression, which worsened into anxiety. And I had a lot of things going on because I was just at a point in my life where I really wanted approval from my peers. And I struggled a lot because I was bullied and I dealt with a lot of isolation, and I felt like I couldn't really relate to anyone who was my age. So even when I had friends within my age group, I still struggled to maintain that acceptance because there was always some sort of dysfunction along the way. And coming from a single parent household, with me being the only child, I felt like I had no one to run to. So to see the light at the end of the tunnel was non-existent because I never had any hope. Every single day was a struggle. And at one point in my life, I wanted to commit suicide. So I was just at a really dark place. And I like to see it as just spiritual bondage, because no matter how much people would tell me, like, oh, you're going to be great someday, oh, you are so smart, oh, you are so beautiful, I never felt that way. So I could not act forth on what I could not receive here. So I definitely, something that was a game changer in my life is when I just decided one day in high school, I was around 17 years old, that I was tired of living this way. I was tired of countless toxic friendships and relationships, and even a distorted view of others, because I lacked so much trust and I didn't have faith in other people and I didn't have faith in myself. And it was to a point where every single opportunity became a roadblock. So at 17, I just decided I don't want to live like this anymore. I don't want to be crying every single night. I don't want to look at myself in the mirror and be ashamed of what I see. I want better. I want more for my life. And just one day I had this thought in my mind, like, I want to know God again, because I did grow up in Catholicism, but I did not have a relationship with Christ. And it took until 2016, where I officially became saved, that I finally had hope, because my hope was no longer placed in myself. It wasn't placed in my parents. It wasn't placed in my peers, but it was placed in the God above, who gives me life. And I think that was a defining moment, because I finally chose life and I started to reject areas of death that were just pulling and weighing me down.
That is awesome to do, particularly at that age, because a lot of times, you know, high school age, going into college, and even college years and younger adult years, your mindset is not necessarily on building a relationship with Christ or God. Your relationship with your peers and what party can you go to a lot of times takes precedence. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. And I know that there are people in that age group that really don't fit in with that lifestyle. It's kind of like society's expectations lead you to believe that that's what you should be doing at that age, you know, discovering yourself in that way. When in all actuality, not everybody really fits into that mold. And they wonder, well, who can I turn to that is of like mind? And it's so important for people like yourself that are younger to really share that experience, because that's an age group where you're not a baby anymore. So you're not necessarily in your parents' home.
Yeah.
And even if you are in your parents' home, there's so many key decisions that need to be made at that time. Like, do I go to college? Do I just get a job? What kind of job do I get? If I go to college, what kind of major do I pursue?
Yeah.
I'm finished with college. What kind of job do I get? You know, and it's one of those things where you feel like you're in a transition period of that dependency on your parent or parents or your guardians. And now I'm a real adult.
Yeah.
You know? So
It could.
it could be a very depressing period of time for some people that aren't grounded and have that foundation in God's love.
Yeah.
Talk about your intention behind your social media presence, because that's an awesome way to be able to impact people on a large scale. So what was your intention behind that? And what are some next steps for you?
Okay. Well, first and foremost, my Instagram is at radiant.views. And that is where I promote my postings and just my ideas for my blog, which is entitled The Unspoken Testimony, which is on WordPress. And what started everything was me wanting to build community, because I've always been a great writer. Like, people would read my writings and tell me, oh, like, you should go for it and do something with it. I remember at 12 wanting to blog. I just had nothing to blog about. And I just point where I love Jesus, so let me just start a page with that. But to take it one step ahead, I thought to myself, okay, I know at one point in my life, I had no hope. How can I give hope to someone else? How can I transfer the blessings that he's given to me and deposit it into somebody else's life? How can I give someone a safe home who is lonely, who is going through affliction in their life? And how can I make it a point to where they can come to my page and just feel free from everything? So the Unspoken Testimony is just a safe haven for anyone feeling rejected, anyone feeling like they don't belong, or anyone who's dealing with issues of not knowing their self-worth, not knowing their purpose. The goal at the end of the day of my page is to just not only give people excitement, but to inspire them to live differently. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And to live differently are the key words there, because you can inspire and they don't do anything with that inspiration, you know, but to inspire somebody into action and to actually live differently, that's saying a lot, because you're transforming yourself when you choose better options and a better lifestyle for yourself. Talk about a time when someone reached out to you, whether that was via social media or that was just in your own local circle. And they said that because of the content that you put out there into the world and the light that you show, that you were able to help them transform their life?
So I see this often because so one story that I posted, I think it was my second blog entry. It was titled "The Hidden Testimony," which is where I went a little bit more into depth about my transition from childhood to adulthood. And I cannot begin to tell you how many responses I received, not just on my page, but, a couple here and there through DMs as well. And I don't want to go into names because I also like to keep people's confidentiality. I like to keep everything private unless they want for their name and their comment to be made public. I don't do that.
Right.
But it was just amazing to see people come from broken homes. Like, I can really relate to you. I really went through that. Or one person that I know, they don't have their parents. And it was interesting because my story didn't just touch them on a basis of loneliness, but also as a young African American or a young Black woman, they can relate to the struggles, because I also talked about what I call superficial insecurities, but more so on the surface of beauty and looks and appearance. So I was able to touch people through multiple avenues.
Right.
And it just felt so amazing to know that my story is not just my story, but everyone's story. Everyone has come across a point in their life when they don't see themselves as valuable. They don't see themselves as having any impact, really. So I just feel like in sharing my testimony, it makes it more personable, and it makes it easier for other people to come out and admit what's in their closet.
Yeah, that is so true. When I do these interviews and I put them out there into the world, most people are encouraged by hearing about someone else's experiences and story. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be this deep, deep, dark secret that they're sharing in the world. It's just
Yeah.
the fact that they're talking about their real life, and the fact that they do have challenges and that the challenges exist. So it's not even about, okay, put all your skeletons out there into the world and tell your deepest, darkest
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, it's more like, I don't want to necessarily see a pretty picture of your family every single time I log on, and you never, ever, ever talk about your struggles or challenges. So even if you put out a pretty picture, somewhere in the caption should be some element of realness, and that's what I strive for. I try not to put out other people's business, and me being transparent. I don't want to put other people's business out there because they're not necessarily going to be as welcoming of the social media and vulnerability, as
Yeah.
I see. So I have to be very, very cautious of that. But generally speaking, when I put out blog content and when I put out a caption to my pretty picture, there's going to be some element of realness. So for me, for example, it would be something along the lines of if I put out a health related post, because I do both career coaching, life purpose coaching, and health and wellness coaching. I intertwine all of those. So if I'm putting out something related to health and wellness, I'm not necessarily going to always put out a salad, a beautiful salad, and say, you should eat clean every day. And, I'm also going to put out those times when I ate a cheesecake and some potato chips and a high sugar drink all in the same day, because that's real. That's like my real life, and I don't want you thinking that I'm a robot that eats clean all the time,
Yeah.
or if I have a particularly sluggish couple of days, like I did earlier in January of 2018, I had some days where I just didn't feel like I was motivated to put out really any content. So I said, well, instead of me not putting out anything, I'll just talk about the fact that I feel like crap and I don't feel like putting out anything, So, and people resonated with that because they can see Ebonie's real, So I think that what you're doing is key to be able to connect with people. And as you said, you saw where tons of people reached out and said, oh my gosh, I needed this today,
Yeah.
And
I totally wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, and that's generally how it comes. What are your next steps, having said that? Because you don't go from being transparent and vulnerable to being guarded most times. I mean, once you do it,
Yeah,
and you keep doing it, it gets easier and easier and easier, and you
it
don't
does.
really think about it. It's just something that you do. So, what are your next steps as far as people collaborating with you, and some next great ideas that you have in mind?
So, for starters, I think I've spoken about this with, yes, I have, with my followers, or I don't even like to say followers because I feel like it sounds so, you know, they, just like friends or family because they really feel like close ones to me. I've discussed on my social media that I do want to put a book out there, and I guess I'll just give you guys a title. It's called Unapologetic,
Okay.
and something that I feel can touch women more so. Men are you're more than welcome to look at it. But just talking about how to live your life unapologetically, like you don't have to give people explanations for anything. You don't have to live a life in people bondage or people hurt. You don't have to sit here comparing yourself or just waiting to seize the opportunity. My book is to just go do it and do it fearlessly. That's something that I hope to get done before the end of the summer. Um,
Yay.
I know, and I'm really excited because it's a growing journey. I thought about what you said about, posting and keeping it real. And to be honest, I kept telling myself, like, oh, I'm just going to wait until my life gets better to write this book because right now I'm still a work in progress. But that's what people want to see. They want to see that you're still working to where you need to be. No one wants to follow Miss Perfect Patty who knows it all. Sometimes we need people who are a little rough around the edges. People want to know your life and they want to see, like, okay, she's growing. How can I get on the same path? So that's what I hope for my book. That's the purpose that I would hope for my book to give to everyone who reads it. The second thing that I wanted to do, I was actually looking into modeling and promoting brands, which is the aim that I do currently. Because I noticed when I would post stuff, people would comment saying, oh, I would love to collab with you. And why not use the opportunity to promote Christ, to promote faith, lifestyle motivation, which is the essence of my page. So I
Right.
really want this to a platform to the men and women out there who are still struggling with insecurity, who are struggling with doubt, who feel that they are overlooked due to society standards. I want to give people a place to feel at home, and that's essentially the image that I want to give off. So those are a couple of projects. I don't like to speak too many things, but there are some stuff that I have going on right now.
I love it, love it, love it. I find that when young people can utilize the online space to connect their story to how they want to see their ideal life and living unapologetically doing it, I think that that just brings so many more people into who they are and putting that out into the world than you just simply telling somebody, you should follow your dreams and leaving it at that. Like people don't really
Yeah.
understand all the time how to get from point A to point Z until they can see someone else doing it. So you talked about, starting this book. Sorry, can you hear me now? Can you hear me okay? I know we lost reception a second there. Did you?
Um, a chunk of it cut off.
Okay, I'm gonna repeat what I said. We
Okay.
often don't necessarily know how to get from point A to point Z, but seeing other people live unapologetically, and
Mhm.
actually pursuing their dreams, and they're just an average everyday person, that is
Yeah.
so inspiring because sometimes our only role models are those famous people that we see on TV that we don't really connect with because they're famous
Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
you
Yeah. It's true.
So I love it. And when your book comes out, I will be purchasing it and I will help you promote it.
Oh,
I'm all about that message.
thank you.
So yes, do it. Make sure you do it.
No, it's funny because I like to hold accountability. So I'm like, all right, if I told my viewers, if I'm telling you right now to share with your base, it's like I put it out there. I got to do it. No more
Yes,
excuses.
yes, yes. I'm very similar. Once I put something out there publicly, then I feel
Yeah.
internally like, okay, I got to do it now because I said it.
That would be a person word.
Yes. I am so happy that we could connect today. I know we had a couple of reception issues right there towards the end. So I hope everyone had an opportunity to listen to everything through to the end. But all of Ariel's contact information is going to be in the description box. So I invite you guys to follow her on Instagram and any other social media platforms that she's on, and connect with her if you feel as though her message is one that needs to be heard around the world. I strongly encourage people to connect with others that are positive minded, inspirational, and want to make an impact, because I believe that people can say positive things, but saying positive things and actually wanting to make a large impact
Yeah.
comes with action. So you're not just speaking positive things, but you have the action behind it. And I love, 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 and I always support action. So for those of you that are interested in connecting with her, I invite you to do so. And also make sure that you check out the description section for the link to my Nutrition for Busy Women Facebook group. That's a group where we don't just talk about nutrition from a food consumption standpoint. We're talking about nutrition for the mind, body, and soul. So I invite you to connect with us as well, and I will help encourage you and support you in your goals. And you have an opportunity as well when you join the group to get a complimentary gift that's going to help you define what your life purpose is and enhance your lifestyle so that you can bring it to fruition. For those of you that are interested in also sharing your story, please reach out to me. I would love, love, love for you to help encourage women and men all around the world, particularly women. But I would love for you to encourage women around the world. And if you believe that Ariel's message was important to you, it probably is to somebody else. So share her content with your friends and family as well. Ariel, do you have any last words of encouragement that you want to share with us today?
I do. So anyone going through anything, because I know around this time of year, there was a lot of suicide prevention going on. I really want to stress this out, and I think I mentioned it. Community is important. Please, if you are ever feeling hopeless or you feel like your life is just spiraling out of control, please do not keep it to yourself. Confide in a friend, a family member, even a counselor at school or at work. Please just make it vocal and known to someone else so that they can save you and prevent you from taking your life away. Life is really beautiful, contrary to how the world tries to paint it. It's not bitter, it's not lonely, it's not tiresome. When you live life the right way, it is absolutely amazing. And I'm actually wearing this around my neck because I came from a Pinky Promise conference hosted by Heather Lindsay, and I hope you guys can see it. It was absolutely phenomenal. You know, you'll meet women from around the world who love Christ, who just share that faith drive. And honestly, it's just an amazing support group. And on top of that, the speakers and just them pouring in life, and I don't even want to say motivation because everything just sounds so short term, but these are actually lifelong principles that you can carry with you. So if you guys can just talk to whoever you need to, and if you can afford to take the trip, I believe she's going to Miami next year. Just that would be amazing. But teams of support is needed, and that's all I wanted to stress out.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And I strongly believe that it's who you have in your circle that's going to help support you that really allows us to grow. Not thinking that you can do it all alone, because you can't. You need a team of people that are positive minded and want to succeed. So thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I really, really want for people that are of like mind, like Ariel, to speak your purpose and your story into this world. So I'll say it again. If you have a success story or challenges that you want to share and put out there into the world to encourage people, please reach out to me and we'll make sure that your message is heard. You guys, wherever you are in the world, have an awesome rest of the day, and we will connect soon in my next episode.